What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us here today on the Budget BBQer, where today we are making Alaskan salmon on the Weber Kettle. Let's check it out. Alright, first things first, we're going to fill up our charcoal chimney and get that started. Then we're going to make a bed to put that onto. While I'm going to use a couple of the large lumps of wood chunks, I'm also going to use a handful of the smaller chunks because this is a great way to use those up on a quicker cook. We're going to be cooking with apple wood today. Typically fruit woods are excellent with fish. Now we're going to go ahead and spread our small chunks across the bed of charcoals we've made in the back that the hot coals are going to go on top of. Alright, now while the coals are prepping, we're going to go ahead and get the fish going. First thing we're going to do is we're going to coat the underside with olive oil. This is going to help it to keep from sticking to the grill grates. You don't need much, maybe even just a teaspoon for an entire fillet like this. Now turn it back over. Now we're going to baste the top with lemon juice. Now, as you can see, the acidity of that juice is already going to start the cooking process while we put our seasonings on. Now we're going to coat the top with garlic salt. And then black pepper. As you can see, we can just keep it simple and make delicious barbecue. Alright, it's been about 15 or 20 minutes and those coals are ready, as you can see by those flames just climbing right out. So we're going to go ahead and put those over the bed of coals that we made on the back side of the grill. Now personally, I keep a pair of dedicated charcoal tongs nearby so that I can rearrange my coals as needed. Now we'll place those bigger wood chunks on top. And we're ready to smoke. After returning the grate to the kettle, we're going to go ahead and put our fillet onto the grill on the opposite side from the coals. We also want to have the thicker part of the salmon closer to the fire. Now let's close it up. And we're actually going to rotate, open the vents all the way, and we're going to have them set halfway between the coals and the salmon. Now we're going to just let that cook for about 30 minutes. Alright, so we've got our Weber kettle between 300 and 325 degrees, but remember, we're cooking on indirect heat. So over here, this salmon is actually going to be cooking at a lower temperature than what we're picking up here in the gauge. Now, just to give you a quick look, you can see that smoke rolling all the way around as it convects inside of the kettle. And the heat over there burning nicely and producing a good smoke. You can see the edges are starting to turn a darker color of the salmon, and that's a good indicator that we're getting that smoke flavor into it. Alright, we've got the salmon coming up between 125 and 130 degrees. We want that nice medium rare because that's going to keep that fish moist. So you can tell that it's done because, first of all, we tempt it. But second of all, another way you can tell is that when you pull up on it, you see how the meat flakes and splits open like that? You can see inside, and it shouldn't be glassy inside at all. And when it looks like that, you're good to go. Alright, we pulled this fillet off, and now we're going to add a little bit of butter on top while it rests. Now I've gone ahead and smothered the coals, so I closed the top and bottom vents, and that's going to allow us to save the remainder of the coals for another day. Alright, let's give this salmon a try. Wow, that salmon is moist, it's smoky, and it's packed with flavor. Check it out for sure. Thanks again for joining us here today on the Budget BBQer. So as you saw, we took our salmon fillet and cooked it for about 30 minutes at between 300 and 400 degrees. But what was important is that we cooked it until it was between 125 and 130 degrees internal in the thicker part of the salmon. Now that makes sure that it is cooked thoroughly and safely. However, it keeps it moist and flavorful. So that salmon fillet fed my family of 5, and we've got enough leftovers to have another meal out of it. So as you can see, for $26, we're still getting a budget cut out of that. Join us next time as we look at other cuts of meat that we can make on a budget.